Hey there, before we get underway with this week's episode, we wanted to talk about our experience at LA Comic-Con.
LA Comic-Con, yes. We hosted a panel called Two Black Guys Talk Godzilla.
Live from LA Comic-Con.
Live from LA Comic-Con. And where we got to interact with Godzilla fans, tell them about the show, talk about the Showa era, play a fun game.
Ideally, some of you listening now were at that panel. It was a full room.
It was a full room.
We were very happy to see it. Yeah, people showed up. They apparently enjoyed what they hear. They got the free stickers, which I think was the main draw.
Yes, I think not the 70-year-old icon, not the interesting panel title, not us. Solely the stickers was the reason why.
There's a lot of people that have like holes in like everyday objects they use, like, or like books with scratches on them, or like binder, and they're just like, what we could do? Slap a big black sticker, like a sticker right on there. Mm-hmm. I think that's they saw like the size.
Well, you have on your laptop slapped some black stickers on it, so it makes sense.
It makes sense, or just to patch it, patch a little gap. So like, they saw the size of the sticker, they're like, this is perfect.
Well, it was great. It was a great audience, and for those of you who were there, who are listening to this, thank you for being so awesome. It was really fun. It was our first time getting to do a panel like that. Mm-hmm. I definitely think we'd like to do it again because we had such a great time. It was just a really enjoyable moment.
And we'd like to see all of you again and more.
Yes.
And ideally, we had, they gave us a smaller room. They didn't anticipate two black guys talking Godzilla might need a bigger audience. But next time, I think we'll ideally have a bigger room. And slowly but surely we'll be taking over the con, and then we'll just have our own con. We'll do our own Comic-Con. Two black guys talk all day.
I didn't tell you. The second one, I was like, let's go see where the room is just to check to know where we were going. Mm-hmm. I was like, we're about to get 3 people in this panel. Because of it felt like just enough out of the way and like down the end of a hall that nobody would show up. So I was thrilled that we had a full room because I was a little nervous.
I was thrilled that there were people like waiting for the pit. It's like, when is this going to start?
Yeah, we were outside and I was like, that like meme where the guy is at the party and they're like, they don't know, and I was like, these people do not know that we are the hosts. And we're all just hanging outside. So that was really fun.
I feel like someone put together that the two black guys.
Well, when we took the picture, of course, but yeah, it was. It was fun. I really enjoyed it.
It was a very good time. So I hope everyone else enjoyed it as much as we did putting it together and putting it on. And we look forward to the next one.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So now, without further ado, enjoy our episode of Godzilla vs. Megalon. If someone's going to develop a theme song for you, what would you hope it would include? Like, what kind of vibe would you want?
If I had a theme song, it's probably the vibes are either gonna be like, it's gonna start off slow, very sad, depressed,
okay,
and then ramp up to like really excitement and fun vibes. It's gonna be a mixture of vibes. Maybe the chorus will be slower, and then the verses will be, energetic, and it would be sung by somebody who can sing. That'd be my only request.
I guess that makes a lot of sense.
Well, because you never know. You might end up with somebody who, warbles.
Warbles.
Yeah.
All right. Good. I'll keep that in mind for your next your birthday present theme song.
Yeah, a mixture of like, what in the world is going on? The song feels so sad, and then suddenly it turns very happy, and you're like, okay, I like this, and then we're back to the sadness. Playing with the ranges of life.
Got it. I am Aaron Neuwirth. I'm the editor-in-chief at We Live Entertainment and the co-host of Out Now with Aaron and Abe. I am a huge Godzilla fan.
My name is Terence Johnson. I'm the owner of LenoirTour.net, and I have seen some Godzilla movies.
And together, this is Two Black Guys Talk Godzilla. Here we are.
Yeah.
Episode 16. Godzilla versus Megalon.
Yeah.
Some would say it was all leading up to this. I don't think anyone actually says that.
No, I don't think they would say that either. No, I don't think they would.
So
this is crazy. Just let me just say something.
Okay.
We are 2 films away from being done with the show era. That's crazy. We've spent so much of our lives together and are about to approach one of the milestones in this podcast, which is crazy. So, and this film was an experience, I would say.
It's one that I've been excited to see you watch. A lot of these like late Showa era ones are because some of them just have wild things going on or ideas that they capitalize on that I do find at the very least interesting.
Mm-hmm.
This one gives the impression of doing a number of things, such as having a character that you think would be like, is this supposed to be like some kind of spin-off character?
Mm-hmm.
It introduces a new monster. It brings back another monster. It has a human plot that I have questions about.
Mm-hmm.
And it's another one of those Godzilla just eventually appears because, hey, we could really use some Godzilla in this movie, but doesn't really have much bearing on the actual plot.
Yeah.
That said, Godzilla also does one of his most iconic moves in this film. A one-timer, no less.
Yeah, well, you can't. It's fun, but you can't go back.
You can't. You just stock footage of that will be like, come on, who are we kidding here?
Yeah.
So let's get into it. Let's get into Godzilla versus Megalon.
Within the uncharted depths of waters surrounding a group of islands off the 50th parallel lies man's most formidable challenge. The awesome awakening of prehistoric monsters long thought extinct. Savage and deadly, their one hope is to rule our planet as they once had thousands of years back. Giant against giant. The ultimate battle. Godzilla versus Megalon. Science was baffled and powerless. A terror-stricken humanity knew that it was on the brink of total destruction. A once proud civilization now had to place its trust and hope in Godzilla and his powerful ally, Robot Man.
An inventor creates a robot that is seized by an undersea kingdom to guide their monster god in attacking the surface as retaliation for the nuclear tests that have devastated their society.
Yeah.
That does a sing-sing job of what's actually happening here.
I think so, and incredibly, you say that, and it does not sound like Godzilla should be in the movie.
Uh-huh. Now, before we get into discussion of this, because I need you to see this.
Oh my god!
Let me make sure I can find it. There is a famous poster for the American release of Godzilla vs. Megalon. Let me see if I can. First, let me see if there's I forget if there's an alternate title for this movie, because they really had some fun trying to come up with ways to advertise this thing. Let's see.
I believe it.
Also known as... That's all pretty much the same.
This is riveting podcast material.
Okay, they just had Megalon. Okay, well, let me show you the poster, okay, because the poster's important. So, this is a movie that features Godzilla, Megalon. They're in Japan. We'll get to Jet Jaguar and all that. This is the poster that the American version of this movie had. This is real.
Yeah, I looked at the wiki just before we started this, and I was like, why are they on the Twin Towers?
Yeah, so this one of my favorite Godzilla posters. It says giant against giant, the ultimate battle, and it is Godzilla and Megalon on top of the two separate twin towers with jets and helicopters surrounding them as they battle each other.
And
that movie sounds incredible.
That is 100% not this film.
None of that is in this movie.
No.
That is an incredible sounding feature, though. I would watch that in a heartbeat.
This film feels like the movie, the spin-off movie you give the new hotshot young director that you just want them to make while you're working on the bigger movie with your bigger director. However, this movie is made by Jun Fukuda, who is going to, not to...
He wrote the script.
And not to spoil our next episode, but certainly going to go up in weight class in the next film. And it's really... It is so sparse. It is so sparse until the end, when I think we get 15 to 20 minutes of kaiju mayhem between Gigan, Megalon, Jet Jaguar, Jet Jaguar, and Godzilla. And it's like, oh, this is amazing. The fight sequence was incredible. But it is so... this movie is so thin in every other respect. I'm talking like the plot of the movie is thin. The casting of this movie is thin. This is essentially a movie with 5 or 6 people, max. Like our 3 main good guys, 2 evil people, and the leader of Seatopia, aka Atlantis.
Yes,
which is something we mentioned. We can get into that, but we mentioned that like episode 2 or something where we talked about Atlantis, and it was like something.
I feel like Jet Jaguar counts as a character.
I mean, human characters.
He starts out human sized. That's why
I'm talking regular humans. This is the thinnest.
I do think it matters that he goes from human size to being kaiju size. So he seems like
Jet Jaguar, and I'm kind of shook because the little photo on Criterion is of Jet Jaguar, and I have always thought that was Megalon.
Okay.
So I got a nice surprise when Megalon turned out to be, a giant beetle. With like diamond arms. But yeah, the movie it's an experience because it's so thin. Like, I know
you're saying thin a lot, but let me clarify. Do you mean... I don't think you mean thin in a positive way, but are you positive on this movie?
I think I'm mixed positive on it.
Okay. Let me interject here, because I think what I find interesting about Megalon is that it feels like it's the middle chapter of a trilogy of these Fukuda movies that starts with Gigan, has this one, then ends with Mechagodzilla, and we'll get to Mechagodzilla next time, obviously. But I do think it feels like, I don't want to say a happy medium, but it does feel like it's a step up from Gigan, because while thin, it feels like it's doing a more efficient version of what Gigan was trying to do.
Yeah,
as far as having 2 kaijus battling 2 other kaiju, having some random plot that involves like sinister things underneath.
Yeah.
This one has more meaning behind that plotting. Like, it's like, hey, stop doing
nuclear testing.
Stop doing nuclear testing. You're literally ruining our society. Yeah. Please stop this. We're gonna sick our god on you because we don't know what else to do. Which is a step up from secret cockroach aliens are building a theme park, and we run out of story. This movie's shorter than Gigan, so it doesn't. So while it's thin,
praise the Lord.
While it's thin, it at least doesn't overextend itself, which I appreciate.
When I say thin, I mean like I really feel like I can feel like the budgetary.
Understandable, but even then, this movie has new kaiju. It has battles that aren't repeating footage.
That's what I'm saying. Like, you get to the end.
Yeah,
and so it's like, ooh.
Yeah, exactly.
That's why I said mixed to positive, but like, it is the fact that we spend nearly every waking moment of this movie with 3 characters, one of whom is a child, one of whom is an inventor, and one of whom is a racer that is a friend of this inventor. And like, we get maybe a minute with other humans. Like, that's what I mean by thin. It's like,
so the way you're using that doesn't speak to me as necessarily being a negative or a positive. It just means more of like a descriptor of the movie.
Yeah.
Now, just to finish the thought, this movie has this theme song thing with Jet Jaguar.
Which I love.
It has a new like other character that's not Godzilla that the plot relies heavily on, and you can see how this is all going to connect to Mechagodzilla next time around. As far as just doing a lot of those same things as well, and we'll argue as to how much we think it might be better or worse. But I do think this one feels like Fukuda's stepping up in that realm before he.
Yeah, it's like he feels like he's testing out an idea. I just wish I just wish it felt more of the worlds that it's in.
I don't disagree with you.
Yeah, we don't spend enough time in Seatopia. Like, we get what we need to about Seatopia, but we don't spend significant time there and get to know anybody really.
No, that's the thing. I do think there's a version of this movie that has a bigger budget and more time that could actually be really compelling as far as what the problem is for Seatopia, we can see the existing city and how they're struggling and have a real reason beyond just, well, we're petty now because we some of our buildings fell down.
With the inventor and his friend, like an inventor and a racer hints at something, just like they just have interesting occupations. But we're in like an isolated house off to the side. They don't really interact with any other. They interact with two other regular humans, and then they interact with some military officers, and that's it. There's like nothing about.
No, as much as you could. As much as people complain about the human stuff in some of these movies, there's easily a couple lines of dialogue, a couple extra scenes where you could be like, yeah, his mother died when he was young, and now there's this, the brother stays over with us all the time, and any number of things that would just flesh this out and give it a little more backbone to it.
Just a smidge more of the flavor of the place where we are at. Like, I think this movie does. That's why I said I mentioned I could see those budget limitations. It's like, okay, well, obviously we're destroying Tokyo, and that's a big set piece, and there's lots of fireworks in this, so that's another big set piece. But it's like the majority of this final battle takes place in just like desolate land. Like there's not even any buildings where they're really fighting. No, they're just fighting off in like the countryside,
which is like again in a lot of other Godzilla movies that choose to remove when you have the big singular fights between the kaiju specifically. It's less about let's throw them in the middle of a city and because it's. But
like last week we destroyed a theme park. We were on Monster Island the week before that, so the vibes here, just like it felt so parsed down in so many ways that I feel like reflect just strictly on like budget constraints.
Yes, which is why I'm trying to make that very clear, because this movie does it is.
There's some things that I think this movie does very well.
Oh, there are a lot of things I think this movie does really well, but this movie does tend to get lumped in the kind of bad side of Godzilla. And now, over the years, I think it's been more reclaimed as far as being a cult favorite within the Showa era.
Yeah.
But as far as the quality of the film is concerned, it does tend to get lumped into one of those other Godzilla films where I'm like, there's too much interesting stuff in this movie for me to think of it as bad. Especially because I think of it so much better than at least 4 of these that I really just don't think are all that great.
4 out of probably the last 6 ones that we just watched.
So it's like, this one does, like, the fact that it's limited by its budget makes me feel like Superman 4, a movie where I think has an interesting plot, it just has no money to do anything interesting with it.
Yeah, because I think here, like I said, mainly between the brother, the friend, and the little boy, we talk a lot about the human plots, and their plot is relevant. Their plot is not interesting, but you just don't get a flavor for the rest of society or the world or where they inhabit. And it's like, why he's an inventor? Why is he making this thing? In the last movie that we watched, it was like, okay, the guy was like a cartoon designer, but we at least saw him pitch to like a graphic.
He functioned in the real world.
If they feel so divorced from like a real world setting that I'm like, oh, like we didn't have money for like a lot of extras in this one, so we just decided we weren't going to do that. But it feels weird to just be on the outskirts, as well as not truly digging into a little bit more of their backstories with, as you mentioned, just a couple of lines. But it sort of replaces that with Jet Jaguar and his impact on the story, in terms of this robot that becomes controlled by the evil people and then controlled back by the owner and then becomes sentient in this final battle and grows to kaiju size and engages in this fight. Like, I thought that there's some really interesting things there about technology and obviously, playing a little bit more up in the time that we're currently living in. But I think that Jet Jaguar was really great. And like I said, I was convinced that was Megalon. I was like, oh, okay, that's what Megalon is. But Megalon is a giant beetle. So I did appreciate, I thought it had a really, really strong ending. Like, just, that's one of the longest, that has to be one of the longest kaiju fights in the series.
Yeah, it's one of the longer periods of time having just kaiju things going on screen for sure. And I think that speaks to why it didn't do well in Japan. It did do well in America, though, and that might be a big. I mean, for one thing, it's because that poster's epic, so I'm sure that got a lot of attention. But it did. It is one that played a lot for a lot of like people that were young when it was like airing in theaters and eventually coming onto TV. It's one that like because it's very kid friendly. It's very It's not very, I don't know. It's got very little, it's a short movie. It's got very little going on beyond kaiju related stuff. And if it's not that, it's hijinks.
Yes.
So it's a very easy one, I think, to have put on. It's also one that notably was part of Mystery Science Theater 3000. So it has a reputation in that way. The big dropkick thing, that's, one of the biggest memes of all of Godzilla is obviously something that's taken hold of its own as well.
Yeah. Yeah. It's got some. It definitely feels, it's silly. It's silly, right? Megalon flings the steel container that they're in over like a hill. They crash land, and they're suddenly all right. It's got some silly things. It's got, a friendship. It's got a friendship.
Yeah, if we can talk about it more later, but it was one of my favorite things about the movie is the instant bond between Godzilla and Jet Jaguar. They're just like,
oh yeah, that wasn't even the friendship I was hitting at.
Oh, okay. Yeah. But I mean, that's that. What I love. Here's two things I love. One is the movie opens with these nuclear tests happening, and it affects Monster Island among other things.
Yes,
and you're watching this happen, and Godzilla's like trying to run away. Rodan's like, "Screw you guys, I'm out of here." He replies off because Rodan's a dick. But Anguirus falls in. But there is no reason for there to be enough acting on Godzilla's part because it is Godzilla. But the movie gives him time to be like, what the hell? My friend just fell down. Like, he looks back, he looks forward, he looks back again. He's got, like, as much emoting on his little rubber face as he can be, as he's like, wait, what? No! Where's my best friend? He's gone. And then, like, fireworks are going off, and it's like... And based on where we are, I think that's the last week's Anguirus of the show era. So, like, presumably, like, no, of course, because Destroy All Monsters said 99, he's back. So clearly, he survived.
That's true. The timeline, yes. And
as we established in this movie, it's year 1970, whatever.
Yeah.
It says 70, so it's 1970. Remember?
Yeah, that was. Yeah, I do think that wasn't the friendship I was hinting at, but the friendship.
We'll get to the other friendship, I know, but the
friendship between Jet Jaguar and Godzilla was a lot of fun.
So if I had to think about the arc Godzilla's going through, even though Godzilla's largely absent in this movie until the end, I have to think that so Godzilla's just suffered a trauma because his best friend fell in a giant hole. He doesn't know what happened, and now he spent the rest of the film, I guess, finding himself until a little boy or a little Jet Jaguar says, "Hey, you got to come help us," and then he meets Jet Jaguar in person, and he's like a bigger version, and he's like, "Hey, bro, I got your back," and we're instant friends. Yes. They give each other a handshake and everything. They're like, "Okay, let's fight this beetle and mechanical chicken person." Go after.
Godzilla's so gigantic. He said, "Oh, I need to."
Yeah, I've seen this asshole before.
And I appreciated more use of the atomic breath.
Yes.
If Jet Jaguar served one purpose, it was to get him to do more of that. It's time to flame broil these people. Their friendship is a lot of fun. It's like we get another. This is a millionth time we've gotten them speaking to each other, but I think this is the first time in a minute where there hasn't been subtitles or giant lettering on the screen, which I preferred. Like, we got that Jet Jaguar was like, "You need to come over here."
Yeah, you can use hand symbols and
Yeah, that's it. And sounds.
Yeah.
And Godzilla figured it out, and he got off Monster Island. Because he's the only one who feels like they are freely able to come and go, other than maybe Anguirus a time or two. So yeah, I did enjoy the friendship.
I'm sure Varan hangs out on Monster Island.
Varan can stay there too. Have a nice long vacation and stay over there. Rodan can stay there too because Rodan has been useless. He wasn't. I don't know. Was he there the last time they fought Ghidorah?
Yeah, he's that's the only time we see Varan.
Yeah, when they had to fight Ghidorah.
He's in the back, helping.
Of course. Mothra and Godzilla are fighting for their lives, and he's just over there, just in the back.
Varan's in the back.
So yeah, I did enjoy that. I enjoyed the tag team. Like I said, I thought that the final fight here was really, really good. It had different levels. It had different combinations. We were using different types of powers. It was a team-up battle and characters that were learning from each other. And so I found it really, really exciting to see that. So if it kind of felt like the trade-off, they were like, you can get really long, awesome kaiju battle, or you can get a more fleshed out world. And so that was sort of the trade-off that we just had to make. But I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the basic mechanics of the plot. I think Megalon is a nice design.
It's one of their heaviest. Just to throw that out there, it's a very heavy costume.
It makes sense now why he was doing the jumps, because it's like, if you got this thing can fly. Like, why is he jumping? But it's like, we can't. The actor might just have to do this. We can't keep flinging you around on wires around the studio. And so, that was interesting.
I will say, as far as Jet Jaguar is concerned, there's a lot of thought that this is supposed to be like, the starting point of a possible spin-off thing where it'd be Jet Jaguar's adventures with the rest of his family. That's not the case. What happened was just a boy won a contest designing a new character to be in this universe, and they went from there and designed the whole thing. That said, this was at the time when Ultraman, a very popular character in Japan, also was very popular. It was very, it was on the rise and everything. So having a character that's very similar to Ultraman, to the point of being very easily confused for Ultraman, wasn't not on the mind of Toho when they had this character brought in.
They said copyright infringement, but not.
Yeah, but there's no other Jet Jaguar since, even though it's a fan favorite.
Really,
character. People love Jet Jaguar. Yet we've never seen Jet Jaguar again.
Maybe a Supernova.
That'd be something. I'd love to see some way to create an excuse to have a Jet Jaguar. Certainly many people would be very excited about that.
Maybe you make it out of nanites, and then that can, the nanites can just like multiply and turn him giant, and then
something along those lines.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, but it is surprising, because not even in like some of these other ones coming up that will have a wide variety of characters, Jet Jaguar is just not one that's come back for whatever reason.
That's fascinating.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's really fascinating, because it is a good, and it feels like a nice. Godzilla has obviously faced off against a variety of creatures and won these battles, but it feels like a nice tipping of the scales, and this might be why they haven't brought it back. It's like a nice tipping of the scales. Like, Godzilla is fighting a giant beetle that can shoot bombs out of its mouth, has a laser beam head, and got like diamond drill arms. Gigan has like a buzzsaw in the middle of his chest, metal alien hook arms, a giant beak, and like laser eyes.
It's for a movie that are designed for kids. It's a scary duo.
So it's like, I'm just talking about, like, obviously there's a lot of interesting things you could do about the natural world versus technology and all of that, but like Jet Jaguar presents an interesting tipping of the scales of like Godzilla with a tech buddy against, another ancient god and an alien in this one. And Ghidorah is also an alien. So yeah, it just was that was interesting. I'm
going to read to you some ideas that they had for the development of this movie.
Oh, goodness.
Just because it concludes with something I think you'll be very interested in. I know, let's see. Megalon, there's a lot of this was going to go back to All Monsters Attack before they had, like, Gabara, the big bright green monster that fights Godzilla in Manila in that movie. Megalon was like a thing tossed around. But whatever. We get past that. We get to this thing where Megalon's going to be paired with Gigan and King Ghidorah under command of the hostile alien invader Miko only to be defeated and driven off by the combined might of Godzilla, Anguirus, and a brand new monster called Megalon, which does not end up being used. Then there was another draft that was just called The Return of King Ghidorah, that retained the same core characters. Now we have Gigan, King Ghidorah, and Megalon, but then we replaced Anguirus and Megalon with Rodan and Varan. So Varan was in the mix once again. But yeah, then they cut out all that, and they just went with what the final version was, which was just Godzilla versus Gigan, before getting to the Megalon stuff and going from there. But Varan was still being considered to be brought back in this universe during this time.
Yeah.
The heat off Varan was there. It was fiery. People needed to have more Varan.
I see. I mean, just to have him jump up, that still is one of the funniest things.
I'm aware also that as much as we bring up the Varanites, they are out there. They have noticed that you keep putting down Varan, and not all of them quite understand why. but there are as much as we make fun of the idea that Varanites exist, they actually do.
I did see somebody comment saying that my hate for Varan was really funny. Yes, that movie was bad. But him jumping up with the web thing that like a flying squirrel just is imprinted on my mind. I'll never forget seeing that. But yeah, I could actually see Varan in a movie like this.
A lot of flying components going on. So yeah, flying and hopping.
Yeah, I could see why Varan and Megalon would have had an entertaining battle.
So you want to get back to this other friendship?
Yes, the friendship.
So the movie, following all the nuclear test. Well, during the nuclear test, we're introduced to this little boy on his adorable little swimming. It's
like a paddle boat.
It was like a giant duck thing, but then it has little duck things.
Dolphins.
Dolphins.
Yeah.
And then two little dolphins serve as the water wheels, essentially. And so the kid's in the water on this thing, and then he's a rocking and a rolling because there's an earthquake going on, and then his older brother and his older brother's man friend are hanging out, dressed very nicely with
some might say too nice for location, but
very nicely with a blanket and what appeared to be some wine.
I think that was Coca-Cola.
I saw a bottle that looked kind of pink. I don't ever know. Coca-Cola.
That was Coca-Cola. But it was an outdoor picnic.
It was a very nice outdoor picnic with very nice dressed men, with no explanation made between as to what they're doing there beyond just having fun with one of their kid brothers.
Yes,
I have nothing against anything going on between these two men. I just like the idea that the film doesn't even try to posit any kind of relationship here beyond just saying this is how it is.
Have we gotten any confirmation on what that relationship was supposed to be?
I've never found anything to suggest more than what we're allowed to imagine on screen.
Yeah.
It just seems like they're two guys that are really into being around each other and making sure the kid brother's satisfied while they race cars and invent things.
And we could take a queer reading with this, and that's totally fine, because it's very fun to do so. But this is part of why I say the movie is thin, because I just am like, what are these dudes? What are their lives?
Again, they're very well dressed, and they're having what looks like a very nice picnic luncheon, while their little brother is hanging out in the water over there within distance to be able to see, but doesn't necessarily need to be hanging out right with them all the time.
The racer friend is constantly over at the house. Is embroiled in this mystery. Is constantly trying to save them. As a good friend, would be at least on the safe.
This could be exactly like Any Which Way But Loose with Clint Eastwood, Ned Beatty, and of course the orangutan that they hang out with. It could be the same kind of thing there, where they're just they're friends. But I'm just saying, I look at this scenario and I'm like, it seems like they're all very happy for whatever reason they want to be happy.
They've got a little family union,
exactly. And which grew a little larger this week when they introduced Jet Jaguar.
Yeah, Jet Jaguar. That's what I'm saying. They got another child, essentially. It was a fun little jaunt with them, but like I said, the thinness, the not, I just like this would filling out their lives a little bit more would have helped in this regard, and not even for me being like, oh my god, are they gay or not, but just like what are they doing?
It's the kind of thing that, yes, 3 lines of dialogue could easily make up like anything that would like.
Oh, it's I'm off season in racing, which explains why you're there all the time. Oh, my last competition. Da, 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 da.
Ever since my wife left, ever since
ever since our parents, passed away, and I take care of my just
we're cousins.
Something, anything.
Any number of things.
Yes, they were dressed very fashionably. I think we are in just a golden era of fashion. In general, 70s fashion is very stylish. But these movies dress their characters very, very well. I loved that. I don't know what type of print it was, but with like the beige turtleneck. I think it was in that first scene.
Yeah.
I love the style of that, and they're dressed very much like an inventor and a racer should be. Like the racer is a bit more stylish than the inventor guy. The inventor guy wears a lot of sweaters. And the kid is just adorable with his little sweaters and shorts and his biker hat, but not biker hat, baseball cap. But yeah, that was interesting. I must say.
It's as far as like their occupations go and what have you. Like,
is this known as the gayest Godzilla movie?
It's a fun.
Do Godzilla fans even have a movie like that?
I haven't searched those sides of the Reddit to know if there's a what's something considered the gayest Godzilla movie. I'd imagine it would be in the top 3, just based on the costuming alone and like the cattiness of some of the characters in other movies. Like if we look at, frankly, next week has some stuff going on as far as how those characters react.
Yes, yes,
and there's dancing and like just the way characters are behaving.
Yes, I'd be intrigued to know what that is considered. Like every franchise has that. What's the gayest Batman movie?
Well, it'd be Batman and Robin, obviously. It goes without saying.
That's what I'm saying. Every fan,
which is weird to think of because Forever seems more explicit as far as Jim Carrey's character's entire deal is how much he's man crushing over Bruce Wayne. But then also the kind of the relationship between Two-Face and Riddler and how close they become. Where Batman and Robin feels more like are we fighting back just how gay we actually are by trying to force ourselves to go towards Uma Thurman, mixed with obviously the high gloss coloring that goes even further than Batman and Forever does. This is the best I can do as a straight man trying to talk about this subject. I do think there's an argument to be made that because both films are directed by the very openly late Joel Schumacher. So it's
I just think it's fascinating to think about this. Let's put a pin in this in terms of Godzilla movies. I'm intrigued to see what will be coming down the pike in terms of.
Well, because I'm trying because the Heishi era is so it's 80s, 90s, and it's so much more gritty. I don't think there's a lot of room for that kind of camp value. But the Millennium era might have some room for some day-glow talk.
Yeah, we'll see. And because I can't, even thinking to the legendary ones, it's I don't even think.
The legendary ones would be the New Empire would probably fit the bill the most, just because of how pink. Godzilla's pink in that movie.
Him being pink is not.
No, but even in terms of the attitude of the movie,
but in the way that Captain America: Winter Soldier.
Well, I would say the characters like Brian Tyree Henry and Dan Stevens and just the kind of the bigness of them and what have you.
Shout out to Brian Tyree Henry.
There's a super kind of energy that I think comes off of those movies that's not as present. No one's going to confuse the Gareth Edwards film that is very stark and has Aaron Taylor Johnson. No one's going to confuse that for being it's has secret homoerotic undertones in it.
It doesn't. No.
What a digression we've come on here.
It's just funny. It's just funny to think about. This is a long running franchise, so it's in every long-running franchise, there are these tentpole films that become things to different.
Wait, what's the gayest MCU movie? Not that I'm thinking about.
Oh gosh, outside of Eternals having actual gay characters,
Is it a Cap?
Winter Soldier or Civil War, right? I've long said that Steve and Bucky is the love story of the MCU, but not in a romantic love sense, but in more a brotherly sort of familial love. It's the greatest love story in the MCU. Probably Captain America. There's been so many MCU movies where like really trying to comb our brains. Like Eternals is obviously up there because Brian Tyree Henry played a gay character and he had a whole husband.
Even like the Marvels, I guess there's a kind of the aesthetic of that movie and the kind of
certainly,
yeah,
or Captain Marvel if you believe in the Maria and Carol sort of thing. But yeah, it's every long running franchise. Nightmare on Elm Street.
Oh yeah, part 2 is
yeah. There you go.
Yeah,
you know, like if your franchise lives long enough, you will have an entry where you know different communities will gravitate towards them, and it's just really interesting to see. So I probably say this is probably as gay as Godzilla can get. The franchise, like truly.
Again, if I do when I do like this Google search I'm going to do later on, I won't be surprised if this is in the top 3, if not topping the list.
It's gotta be. You know, and where you don't fill in the blanks, people will bring their own subtext. Even though, for the record, I don't think any of the characters in this movie are gay, but it's certainly the vibes are there. You could read it in that way. What else do we have to talk about in this film?
So the name. I mean, despite the thinness of this plot, the idea is that we have this guy, this inventor within this family unit we've established. He has this robot.
Yes,
and he's just, I guess, aware of what it can do, which is become basically a Silver Surfer of the Godzilla universe.
I was not looking at my notes. I said, "Oh, so this is the plot of Aquaman and Fantastic Four in one film."
Yeah, Jet Jaguar basically heralds Megalon.
The Silver Surfer. I herald your beginning. I herald your end.
I herald Megalon.
I wasn't looking at my notes, but I definitely wrote that down. I said not this turn. And then the Aquaman plot, obviously, where it's like, you know, Orm wants to take on the surface world, and very much here in Zootopia they do. Mm-hmm. You know, maybe we'll find out down the line that James Wan is a big fan of Megalon. Oh, that's something we haven't spoke about. The director of Shin Godzilla, which we recently did a bonus episode for, said that this was his favorite Godzilla movie.
Yeah, now we can finally discuss how much this has nothing to do with Shin Godzilla.
And as I was watching this, I was like, I am going to try and see what he might have pulled to do Shin Godzilla. And do you know what I found?
Nothing.
Basically.
Because I hearing that, knowing this movie already, I'm like... I think he just either really likes the movie or he's having some fun, because there's nothing in this that suggests that it influenced Shin Godzilla in any way.
Yeah, I think
it's certainly legitimate to think that he just really likes this movie.
Yeah, but that's why I think it's more like he really likes it. But if I had to like really, really stretch and like squint, maybe it's like the idea of like the small group of people defeating the seemingly large. Thing.
Perhaps,
but that's me. That's I said.
That's real squinting and stretching. You're not wrong, sure.
But yeah, I mean, yeah, I was intrigued. Like I'd be intrigued, you know, when we get to these other, you know, we'll get out of the Showa era and we see who starts directing some of these other ones. If we learn about what their favorites were, to just see what the directors, you know, learned and or took from, because I'd like, particularly when we get to, you know, the legendary ones. Like I'd love to know what, like Gareth Edwards.
Yeah, they do. Those guys do all have their favorites that they've certainly been very open about.
But it feels more like, you know, particularly modern. And not that this franchise is devoid of like filmmakers of that time looking at other movies that are being made and pulling things from them. But like these later Godzilla movies have felt so.
You're going to feel that in the High Sierra for sure.
Yeah,
you're going to see very specific references.
Just the legendary Monsterverse, like Kong Skull Island is like. That dude really loves Apocalypse Now.
Yes.
Almost to a detriment of like, and I love Apocalypse Now. It's one of my favorite movies ever made.
Yeah, it's rules.
Like, are we just gonna the whole helicopter sequence? We're just gonna redo the whole thing. So yeah, I couldn't quite find. Maybe the comments on some of our pages will let us know what they think Shin Godzilla and Megalon might have in common.
I'd like to read that article.
I just want to know, because like I said, I was squinting.
What else? I do like that that Seatopia provided the answer to what the Easter Island statue stood for. That I'm glad it really nailed that mystery down.
Yeah. Yeah, it's... Yeah, I think this is... upper middle?
Yeah,
upper middle.
I've seen this a number of times to a point where it's like, I get why it it's a lowly thought for a lot of people, but at the same time, it's like there's a lot of fun here. Like it's really silly, obviously, but I find it creative. It relies less on stock footage than the last one,
yes,
so it has that going for it, and let alone the one before that, or whatever all about just tag is. Eventually, it does present this Jet Jaguar character that I just really enjoy, to the point where I'm like, wow, that's the one we don't get more of.
That's just, it's really wild that they didn't bring him back.
I mean, he has his own theme song, which is great. How'd you like the music over this time around? A lot of jazzy stuff going on.
Music was a lot of fun. I told you I recently watched Shogun's Ninja, Young Hiroki Sonata, and it was a Japanese movie set in whatever time period in the past it was set, and it had a jazz-infused score, and I was just like, what is going on? It plays a little bit better here. It does play a little bit better. Although I will say, I don't like the theme they use. I don't love the theme they use for Godzilla.
I'm not a big fan of it.
I just, and I'm sure this will come up way in the future, in 2045, when we finally get to, Alexander Desplat's score and Bear McCreary and why they chose to do what they did, either using the theme or not. But I just think the march is iconic. You hear that and it's like, okay, Godzilla has come to really beat these people up.
Yeah, if you're not going to use the march, you better use something that sounds pretty damn good in place of it. And I don't like the kind of, there's I don't know, it's the whole attempt to make Godzilla very friendly.
Yeah, I definitely felt like this. We're more in the. It gives more of here's the hero, but with the amount of enthusiasm that I just gave versus oh my god, our hero is here, which is different.
Yeah, no, yeah. I hear you.
But I did enjoy it, and I did enjoy the song.
Favorite moment from this movie?
Oh my goodness. My favorite moment is just the whole battle. I just thought the whole ending battle was great.
The battle's great. I do like the transition because it's pretty level-headed, and then Gigan gets him over. You're like, wait, what? Gigan's here?
Yeah.
Okay. And then it becomes, okay, now I gotta fight two of these assholes. Okay, never mind. And then Godzilla finally shows up. And it's like, okay, now we can.
Yes.
And just there's a kind of Street Fighter, Mortal Kombat, we're getting in our fight poses kind of thing going. Godzilla gets there, and he's like. And it's just, there's even tactic where he's just kind of circling so he can get to Jet Jaguar and be like, are you okay? Pick him up before they start going on battle.
There's lots of teamwork. There's lots, as I said, it's the build, and it's
there's
very interesting, Megalon flying around Jet Jaguar 50 million times, and then the film making, essentially editing to that 50 million times, and making us dizzy along with the they're just really interesting levels and things in that battle. So,
it seems like there's real thought put into it.
Yeah.
Obviously, the drop kick is just great to me as well. I mean, I can't deny that. Also, there's a good car chase in this movie. Also, I think
a great car chase. Jun Fukuda's action, which is great considering what is on the horizon for him. Figuring out how to make compelling action both with the kaiju and the humans is going to lead to. It's something really fascinating.
It's why I like this as a step up from Gigan. Gigan has stuff I like in it for sure. It has a giant Godzilla tower that you're supposed to ride up an elevator in.
Yeah.
But it's a movie that just feels like it just stops. It just runs out of ideas. A third of the way before the movie ends. You're like, so what are we doing now? Where this movie,
it's a little tough.
This movie still has stuff going for it, and then the battle feels earned while we're watching it. And again, it's also short. It's a very short movie. All right. Well, we've done. We talked about Godzilla vs. Megalon, a film for the ages.
And what's next up?
Next up is Godzilla vs. Mechagodzilla, of course.
Ooh, exciting.
It is exciting. Mechagodzilla, another fan-favorite character in the realm of Godzilla films. You'll hear all about that coming soon. But for now, Terrence, where can we find more of you online?
You can find my work at thewildshow.net and on Twitter at Terrence B. Johnson.
find everything I do at thecodeofzeke.substack.com. I write for Leave Entertainment. I co-host the podcast Out Now with Aaron and Abe. My co-host Abe and I, we discuss movies on a weekly basis. We have friendly guests on the show and do other fun things like commentaries and stuff as well. And I'm on all the socials at Aaron's PS4. Okay, so yes, we will talk about Godzilla versus Mechagodzilla in 2 weeks from this time. But until then, this has been Two Black Guys Talk Godzilla.
Jet Jaguar, Jet Jaguar, やったでジャガー。行け行け平和を守るため、みんなも驚く勇気を見せる。ゴジラとジャガーでパンチパンチパンチ。泣くな僕らも頑張ろう。
Two Black Guys Talk Godzilla is an independent podcast. The show is produced, edited, and distributed by Aaron Neuwirth and Terence Johnson. Theme music is sampled from Pharaoh Monch. Please rate and review this show on Apple Podcasts. Feel free to email us at blackguystalkgodzilla@gmail.com and follow us on the socials at BLK Godzilla Talk on Twitter and Blue Sky, and at Two Black Guys Talk Godzilla on Facebook and Instagram. And if you haven't already subscribed, feel free to do so wherever you download your podcasts so you can keep listening to Two Black Guys Talk Godzilla.